get to the money. Gotta get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. So you know that I'm on it. Gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and me. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. And gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and they. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money.
Welcome to another episode of Drinking After Dark, a podcast where we discuss random topics while having a few drinks. I'm your host, Darius, and as always, drink responsibly. And y'all make sure y'all follow Drinking After Dark podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And y'all make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe to Drinking After Dark podcast YouTube channel. Tonight, I have a very special guest with me. I've known this man for a few years now. A really good guy. He actually has a new ebook out called The Media Mentorship, Mastering the Art of Media and News Coverage. Welcome to the podcast, Jason Luntz. What's going on?
Ah, man, I'm glad to be here, bro. I've been seeing you do your thing for a minute with this, and it's so exciting, and I'm just glad to be here, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Man, I'm glad, man. You actually on this podcast tour right now, promoting your ebook and everything. And I saw the status you put on Facebook. I said, let me go ahead and jump in on this to get you on my podcast so we could talk about it. So yeah. I'm thankful. Thank you enough for coming on, man. And thank you for the reply too.
Oh,
you know,
it's exciting though, because seeing you it has been some years that we've known each other, right? And I think when we first met, you might have just started Austin P, or you were on the way wrapping up.
I was on my way wrapping up Austin P.
But always, even from them, like you always was like mad cool, laid back, but very serious and like intentional about what your vision for your career was. So to see you do this, it's just a natural evolution in where I saw you at a few years ago. So it's really impressive to see you continue and keep going at this, because your podcast is making moves and it's going to keep doing better and better.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let the people know what you're drinking on tonight.
Okay, so, we were just talking about it offline. The weather's a little weird. It's hot, it's cold. So I'm drinking an old style hot toddy, which is some lime, some whiskey and some tea. So it's good. It gets you there, but it also makes you feel better.
I'm going to say something that's very controversial. I don't care what anybody say. I think Hennessy is overrated. That's just my opinion. I'm going to say it. I don't care who gets mad at me. I don't like it.
All right, I'm going to keep it really real. I'm a little older than you. And we started drinking in the 90s when Pac talked about it a lot. And for some reason, we used to just kill Henny. We drink Henny and Coke, Henny and Cranberry, take shots of it. It wasn't until I got older, I realized that cognacs are supposed to be sipped after dinner in a little snifter. You're supposed to like maybe a cigar after a nice meal, take your time with it. It's not meant for that.
Yep. And a lot, and I don't know. It's just not me. I grew up around Crown. Like when I say around Crown, like my dad's side of the family, that's what it was. I seen all the Crown bottles. I seen all the Crown bags. Yeah. I mean, I even kept changing the Crown bag. Matter of fact, I still got a Crown bag right now. So that just, I've been around it. I think it's pretty good. That's actually what I'm drinking on. I'm drinking on Crown Vanilla mixed with Dr. Pepper and cream soda. So
that's good. I love the Crown. Do you remember though? I think it was like right around COVID or before COVID when the Crown Peach dropped, and they couldn't put it in stores. I remember like going to the store and buying like 4 bottles of it, not because it was even that much better. It was like so exclusive. I don't know. It was banging though.
It was actually at one point they didn't have Crown Vanilla anymore. Like that was gone too. So one Christmas Eve, well, not this past Christmas. I think it was the Christmas before last. It was one of those past Christmases where I was just going from like store to store to find a bottle of Crown Vanilla. I ended up having to go to Guthrie. Some told me go to Guthrie. I went to Guthrie and I found the bottle of Crown Vanilla. I was so happy. I was like, now I can enjoy my Christmas because usually I mix that with root beer float on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I ain't care if I paid an extra $2 or $3 for a bottle. I did not care. It was well worth it. And
Well,
I've been on it. I've been on it ever since. I've been on it for going on 2 years.
oh no, it's banging. It's funny you said that too, because something about Kentucky has saved my life with alcohol so many times, either Guthrie or running to Oak Grove and going to
Yeah.
that drive-through. Sometimes when I lived in Clarksville, I'd be like, all right, I don't know what it is about Kentucky right there. But you go further, like going towards Russellville, you start hitting some dry counties up there where there's no
Mm.
alcohol.
Oh wow. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. I remember I went to see a friend one time and they told me, make sure you stop in Guthrie and get some liquor. But I was like, I didn't click. When I got to their house, they were like, where's the liquor? I was like, let's go liquor store. They said, this is a dry county, there's no liquor. And I was like, oh my God.
I mean, yeah, some places like that. Some places like that. I don't know how Tennessee is. I know you've probably been to Illinois. I know you've probably been to Missouri where they can actually sell it in the grocery stores or even at the gas stations.
Yeah,
They
Indiana.
selling those. Yeah, so it's like eventually, I don't know if Tennessee's ever going to get to that point, but I think they starting to edge probably a little closer. Like, hey, we might end up doing this. We might not. I mean, down here, Bible Belt and everything, but
Oh
who
man.
knows?
Remember how long it took them to get and it was crazy, even thinking about media, they had to do like a straight up like media push to get us to have wine in the supermarkets. And I remember that was a real big issue, but they were able to convince people. And I think the deal was liquor stores could stay open on, well, did we be closed on Sundays or was it
It used to be closed on Sundays. Now they open on Sundays.
the deal? Liquor stores could get an extra day and then supermarkets could get wine. And that was the deal that they made. But I remember that it was a big media push on both sides. We're trying to take advantage of using the news coverage, commentary, editorials to try to sway the public one way or the other.
Yeah, it sure was. And me personally, I think like I understand you want to keep the liquor stores open. I understand like because once you see Walmart, you see Kroger, selling, everything they're selling, they're like, well, why are we even open if
Yep.
they're selling it? So now we're kind of like competing with the big boys who
Yeah.
already have an advantage. And me personally, I'm like, and this is just me. I don't feel right going into a grocery store buying a fifth of whatever,
Yeah.
with my ham and bread and all
Yeah.
that stuff. It just doesn't feel right for me. I like to go into an actual store where I feel like, oh, this is where I'm meant to be if I'm gonna buy a bottle or anything. So
And
I understand. I understand that.
I think that's why they decided wine is cool. They already have beer, but yeah, it is kind of weird to get your Hennessy or your Crown at Kroger when you're picking up and you got your kid in the in the push cart and you're like, all right, let me get some of this. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was a good deal though. I just found it interesting that the way that people can use media, to get society basically to agree with you. And we see that a lot too with Fox and MSNBC, and CNN. When we were younger, it used to be most of it would be called was straight news, and that's just telling you the facts, no opinion, just saying, hey, this house burned down, this person got shot, right?
Yeah.
This government got toppled, whatever it was. There was no opinion, it just was the facts. But now we see more and more of the news 24-hour cycle is an opinion. It's either conservative or liberal, and it feels like you have to agree with one or the other 100%. You can't be like a little conservative on this and a little liberal on that. You got to be 100% all the way for Trump, or 100% all the way for, socialism, whatever it is. And I found that interesting that's kind of changed the dynamic. But when it comes to business, I feel like that can kind of still be very like, here's the facts. You just have to have a good story to draw interest in it.
That is very much true. That is very much true because people love a good story.
Yeah.
I think that's why people are drawn into like the drama series or even the reality shows because of the story and they get so caught up because they want to know what's next. They want to see what's next. And in a way, like you said, the way the media is today, it is very much opinionated. It's not really based on facts anymore. Well, let me ask you this. Do you think it's because there's an entertainment aspect to it, to where they have to keep the ratings up to draw people in and keep whatever conversation or keep whatever momentum going?
Yeah, I think that in a time when news was something, you got your newspaper in the morning, and then when you got home, there would be ABC, CBS. They all had like their 1 hour nation news. That'd be an hour, and then you do the local news. And then at night, they would have another local news. So you probably got your news in the morning and then maybe 2 hours of it sometime during the evening, right? And a lot of it, we had more time to just focus on the stories. But now that you have a 24-hour news cycle, how are you going to get people to jump on that at 2 in the afternoon and 2 in the morning? So I think the entertainment part of it is important because in the end, media, it's a business too, and they have to make their money off ad revenues. So how do you get people to watch? I mean, Fox News, even though politically I don't agree with their stance, they were able to tap into something where they're like, look, there's a part of this society that really believes in these conservative views, right? Let's just go really hard on that. And then we got millions of people watching. Why wouldn't McDonald's or Canon Printers or, Walmart or whoever it is, why wouldn't they give us $500,000 for a commercial? Look at all the eyes on it. So I think a lot of it is because it's so much time that they have to fill that let's just go with the entertainment. And a lot of it is entertainment. Some of those commentators are like halfway stand-up comedians. I mean, look at Bill Maher, look at Jon Stewart. You know what I'm saying? And even on the left side, even though they're not as funny, some of those guys on Fox are actually entertainers.
Yeah. Yeah, you see that a lot too. You see a lot of entertainers who are going into that field. Like even you brought up comedians. D.L. Hughley is another one that same way. So who else? The late great Dick Gregory. He was another one.
He started that, but he was serious too, though.
He
dropped knowledge.
Paul so did.
Paul Mooney.
Yeah, Paul Mooney. He was another one. So yeah, so they out there, they use their lanes to get into the lane that they really want to be in. So I think that's what they do. But by the end of the day, people gonna argue facts or opinions, however it is, but you always gonna believe whoever's on your side anyway. So
yeah.
I think that's the thing about it, because people are not as critical of the people they support, but they will go after you hard if you're on the opposite of them. And I don't really like that. If you support somebody, you should also be critical of that person as well. That's the way I look at it.
And and it's tough. I deal with it too, because I do want my side to win. But when my side messes up, you're right. You gotta be real and be like, yo, that was a bad choice, or that person's not a good guy. Just because you view a lot of things I agree with, you got to be real about it. And I think that's a good point.
Definitely, man. So let's get into your ebook right now, man. The Media Mentorship: Mastering the Art of Media and News Coverage. So let's talk about the beginning. What made you start this ebook? What was be transparent with us? How did it all come about?
Okay, so my company, Your Voice, we do a bunch of services. We build websites, we do social media consulting, we do email marketing. We also do some offline stuff. And one of those biggest things we offer is public relations, media relations. And that's basically, we help brands and businesses get in front of media so they can actually get news coverage. We help, get their message together. We write press releases. We use our contacts in media to get them in newspapers, on the radio, to get them covered by journalists and TV networks. And as you know, with small businesses, a lot of small businesses, they're bootstrapping. They don't have a lot of money. And even though we try to make our services affordable, one of our missions is to give small businesses the same access to tools that large companies have. But we still got to feed our family. You know what I'm saying? We still got bills to pay. So it's only so low we can go. And I was thinking sometimes there's people who have great stories. I'm like, oh, I wish I could, write a press release for them for not a lot of money, but it still takes time. So I was like, what's a way that I can give people access to this information? I was like, oh, an ebook. So you may not be able to afford our lowest package, but you can drop $10, $14 on this ebook. And since you're doing so much on your own, which small businesses do, you can go ahead and knock out these tips that we give, and you can see yourself actually getting that news coverage. Now, yes, it'd be easier to hire someone like me or another company, but when you bootstrap it and you're trying to grow your business, you got to jump in there, you got to stay in the ditch, and you got to fight it out. But this is a way to help you. We're trying to give you some of those tips that can lead you in the right direction. And then as you grow and grow and grow, you can always jump back in and hire someone like me. Also, after reading this book, if you do hire a company like mine or even a bigger company, you already have a great knowledge of what they're going to do for you. Because sometimes you can just hire someone, and if you don't have any awareness of what they actually do, you don't even know what you're paying for. After reading this book, you'll be like, oh, I understand I need relations with journalists. I understand I need to be able to tell my story and things of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, that's very, very good point. You got a lot of people who do pay for a service, and they just like, all right, just do what you do. But it's always good to have that type of knowledge so you know exactly not only what you're paying for, but make sure they're doing their job correctly.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that's very, very important. Where can they find this ebook?
Okay, so I sell a book on a website called PayHip. It's a site where you can download digital products. It's really cool. Payhip.com. And then go to payhip.com/the J Luntz Report. TheJLuntz report, REPRT.
Definitely, man. So y'all go check that ebook out, man. Especially, man, if you're trying to, grow as a business, or even say like if a platform like mine, go ahead, y'all check that out, man. Y'all do all of that. It is worth the read. Yeah, I think that's something that we all should take a look at. I think I'm gonna give me a copy for like me and my wife to read. So that's
y'all are growing a lot, and it definitely would be and the good thing with you is because since podcasting, and I didn't really dwell in it like I should have, and I'm gonna put together volume 2 eventually and talk a lot more about getting on podcasts as well. But I think it'll give you a good understanding too of this field that you're in. Plus, you already got the communications from college, but I think this gives you also that knowledge from someone that's like been in the trenches with media relations for some time now.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I'm gonna tell everybody about this. I gotta tell everybody about this. There's a special code, right, for this ebook.
Yes, yeah. So right now for your buyers, we put, well, you know what? I have a few codes for the shows. I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. So we it is After Dark, all caps. So if you go there, you click on it, put in the code After Dark, you get 50% off. And I want to have that code up forever. So, people might listen to this a year from now. The code will still be working.
Definitely, y'all. So please, man, if you want to save some money and get a great read, type in the code After Dark, all caps, y'all. Remember, all caps, 50% off, man. And hey, look, it doesn't hurt. If you're thinking about starting a business, or if you're in the, at the ground level starting a business, just read it. Just read it. You know what I mean? Education goes beyond the classroom.
Oh my goodness.
It goes beyond the classroom. So I know I'm definitely going to purchase one when I get paid. So I'm gonna purchase one. And let me see. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it on the tablet, not on my phone. I think I'm gonna put it on because my phone is too small for me to read it. So I'm gonna go ahead.
I actually have, but I actually have it where it's unlimited downloads too, so you can put it on all your devices. But the thing about it is, I feel like too, it's just real easy to read. It sounds like the way I talk, and when you're going through it, I actually give like real examples. Some from my own clients, but I've changed the names for their privacy, but some from my own clients and some from like well-known examples of people that have done certain things to get media. But the main thing about trying to get some media coverage is, one, you definitely want to develop what your story is. And there's a few reasons for that. One, and we've seen two things that disrupted how people spend money. First, in the mid 2000s, 07, 08, late 2000s, during that big recession, people started spending their money differently. They started really looking how they spend money, and they thought about spending money in things that say something about who they are. So people like to support a business because it's woman owned or it's black owned, or, somebody might have started a candle company and it was inspired by their mother who passed away from breast cancer, right? And they're a breast cancer survivor. I mean, things like that are important. And then COVID really pushed that because people had to look at their money again. So you notice that you see a lot of people, they share, like, and comment on smaller businesses or businesses that really represent who they are, their values, what's important to them. But we don't know what's important if you don't tell the story. So yeah, you opened up a new restaurant, but what was the reason you opened that restaurant? It had to be more than just making money. You know what I'm saying? If you were a juvenile delinquent and you learned how to cook in a nonprofit program, and now you want to open a restaurant so you can hire young people off the streets, right? That's way more important than saying, hey, I got a good, hamburger. You know what I'm saying? So you want to share those kind of stories. And that's the kind of stuff that will excite a journalist, and they'll want to tell that story for you.
Yeah, actually, I remember it was, I don't know how long ago it was, but on my Instagram page, I always said being transparent, you want people to feel connected, not only from, not just for business, but connected to you. They feel connected to you personally.
Yeah.
Right. And I just think that a lot of times people, they get into businesses, you get into business to make money. Let's just be honest. But, the reason behind it, that's what's actually going to carry you. That's why a lot of mom and pop stores are still in existence to this day. Because, we all know, like, we enjoy really going to the mom and pop stores or restaurants more so than anything else. One, because the backstory of the business, and not only that, but it's been passed down through generations, and you feel connected to it because you grew up on it. So I just think that being transparent, especially whether it's a business, whether it's a podcast or anything like that, the reason why you get started is because of whatever maybe experience you went through. Like, I'll give you the perfect example real quick, right? I don't think you heard this. Well, I know you haven't heard this story. I think I told it maybe once on this podcast, but it was like kind of in the beginning when I got started. All right. So the reason how this podcast came about was one night I was over at a friend's house and we were watching a fight. And the fight ended prematurely. Dude got destroyed, right? So we were just over at my boy's house, we were just talking, drinking and everything like that. And we was having like these conversations. We were just laughing and joking and all of that. And I remember it was like past midnight, something like that. And all of a sudden, a thought popped into my head because I've always wanted to do a podcast, but I didn't know what. So I said, you know what? This actually would be good for a podcast. Everybody's drinking, everybody's laughing. It's after midnight. It's pretty much after dark. Oh, why not call it Drinking After Dark?
Yeah.
And I told my boy this. We used to work in the mall together. And I told him that. He was like, man, that's a great idea. And he was the first person I told. And next thing you know, I started my podcast.
Wow.
I didn't have no, like, a lot of people want to have all the equipment, the lights and all of that stuff. It wasn't until I had I really missed this phone. I had an LG Stylo phone, right? I missed it. I love that phone very much. And then, but I got that screen of death. I was like, oh, shoot. Now I got to go buy another phone. So I went that same day, well, the very next day, because it happened at night. I got me an iPhone. And I was like, man, I got this phone now. Might as well start a podcast. And then I was going through apps. And that's when I saw this app called Anchor, which is now Spotify for podcasters. And I was like, oh, so all you got to do is just download the app, put the title of my podcast, and just start recording from the phone. That was it.
That was it.
And I tell people all the time, you ain't gotta have all the fancy equipment and all that stuff, man. Technology has gave opportunities to where you could do it through a Zoom. Record it through a Zoom, upload it. If you want to do it in person, have all the equipment and all of that, that's cool too. But if you just starting out and you want to see how it goes, I always say there's apps out there for you.
Yeah.
So where you could do it, right? Apps out there. Even if you want to get like a Zoom or something, pay that, $16 a month to record on a mobile, which is kind of weird to me because I gotta pay money to record from the phone, but if I do it from my laptop, it's free.
Yeah, but the good thing is you still need the paid one even if you use your laptop because you only get 45 minutes on the free one. So I got the 60 one, and so if you want to go an hour, like your show is traditionally an hour, it is. But I like what you said, and in fact, it made me think. I'm gonna tell you what just popped in my head when you said that. I thought about Issa Rae from Insecure, because she wanted to be an actress, right? She wanted to produce and direct, but in the beginning, she started her show, Awkward Black Girl, and she just had some regular cameras and just put it on YouTube. Because if you really want to do it, just do it. Like you don't have to wait for gatekeepers anymore to say, "Hey, we'll get you on the radio and give you a talk show," right? And you don't have to wait to have the big stuff. Because what if you buy the best microphone and these huge lights, right, and a professional camera, and then you do 2 podcasts? You're like, damn, I'm not really feeling this. I mean, just find out if you even like it. Like you said, jump on your phone, interview somebody, and if you like it, you're going to start to naturally get better and better equipment. But
yeah,
people also do it because they think that others won't respond well if they don't look as professional. But the truth is, I understand when I go in a mom and pop's restaurant, I'm not going to get everything I might get at a large chain that's worth $1 billion, right? And if I go in there thinking that Pops on the corner is going to give me what Ruby Tuesdays with 10,000 locations around the world is going to give me, it's not realistic. You got to know what you're working with. But your podcast is going to grow and grow and grow. And as you start monetizing it and, eventually get sponsors, you start making money off it, then you might move to the next level, or you could just keep it like this because it works.
Yeah, it definitely works. And the best thing about it is that, I could be at home. My thing about it is, if I'm a drink, I'm gonna stay at home. Yeah. That's just me. And I like people being in the comforts of their own home because they're relaxed, and I feel like they can open up more when they're in their own private area, whatever, their home, living room, kitchen, wherever they like to feel comfortable and feel like themselves and all of that. And besides, I don't want you to go out there drink and drive. So that's just how I operate.
Well, I appreciate you looking out for me. No, it makes sense. But I do think that your example is great. And even that's a story. And I wanted to backtrack too, talking about stories when you mentioned that we enjoy the mom and pop's restaurant. A great example of that story is Prince's Hot Chicken in Nashville. A lot of people know the story was that Prince's was out there. He was wilding in the streets on his lady. And he used to be cheating like crazy. One night he came home, this is in the 30s, and he stayed out all night. And his lady was like, "I got something for you." Said, I'm gonna fry you some chicken, baby. And she put all types of cayenne pepper and all types of hot stuff in it, served it to him. He ate it and he loved it. And then he called his brothers over. They loved it. So they decided to open up a little chicken shack. And from there, the history of hot chicken is from that story. And Prince's, if you ever see an article on Prince, a blog, a news story, whatever it is, that story is going to be mentioned. Some articles might go more in depth. Some might just hit it with a couple sentences. But that story has helped to solidify their brand. And it's more interesting than just, hey, here's a local chicken thing we've been doing in the hood. You know what I'm saying? In fact, that story is so strong that most articles, if they talk about anyone hot chicken, you talk about Hattie B's. You talk about a new hot chicken spot in Vegas, they probably gonna mention that Prince's story in the first couple paragraphs because hot chicken, now that story is part of the brand of the actual product. And we can all kind of, share those stories and be transparent. What if they were like, "Oh, we don't want people to know our great uncle was, out in the streets." it wouldn't be as exciting.
Yeah, it sure wouldn't be exciting. And you know what? Like I said, people love a good story. Like you said, they love a good story. And regardless how something came about, they would. I mean, they ain't gonna turn their back on it. They ain't gonna turn their back on you because they love your product. Like what's that movie that was it a movie about the guy who pretty much started the hot Cheeto? Uh,
That was a great story.
so they had that. So it's kind of like I love all these stories. Like one particular, right? Now I watched this movie. I know you've seen it. And the person inside of me was kind of like, dang, he really didn't have to do him dirty like that. But it came about. The founder, McDonald's.
Whew. Man, look, I got to stretch out on that one, man. But
So he,
dirty though.
you,
But business people, but on the flip side though, he did also put in a lot of work too, though.
mm-hmm.
And that I think is what a lot of business get out of it. But he did him dirty. But it's a good story.
he kind of well, yeah, but in a way, who the guy who came up to him was like, "You're not in the fast food business, you're in the real estate business," and he pretty much started the real estate company in a sense. And he offered the brothers like, "Hey, listen, you're gonna get royalties off of this, right?" Which would have been, you talking about 300 million for the both of them a year, just off of royalties.
He did offer him that, and they said no.
They said no.
And then they gave him like $1 million each or something. And damn, you're right. He did offer him that. And
they had to change their name from McDonald's to another restaurant because they couldn't use that McDonald's name.
Oh my God. And it closed like instantly.
Pretty much.
That the real estate part of it too is crazy because for them to be like, look, we're gonna franchise and everybody can own their own business, but they gotta rent the location from us. So you own your own McDonald's, but McDonald's owns every McDonald's building in the world.
Yeah.
And you have an automatic tenant that's paying you rent every month.
Exactly.
I mean, that right there is that's a brilliant thing. But that story is because even McDonald's, when you go to a lot of McDonald's, they even have a plaque with his picture, years before the movie came out with his name and like a paragraph about, what he did. And that story also helps McDonald's grow. And I also was thinking about this too. Now you said McDonald's, I got to say this. A lot of times, especially smaller businesses, we're like kind of afraid to keep sharing our story because we don't want to wear people out, right? We want to be like, oh, here's my t-shirt line again and again and again. But then I thought the other day, I was like, you know what? McDonald's has served billions of people. When I was a kid, I used to say millions. They've served billions of people, right? And they still do commercials, radio ads, pop up on websites, snail mail, little coupons, apps. I mean, they advertise. You can't go a day without billboards when you're driving down the highway. You can't go a day without seeing a McDonald's ad, and they don't care that you already know who McDonald's is, right? And they like, yo, look, we're gonna wear you out. So don't be afraid to tell your story because there are people out there that want to hear that story again and again. It inspires them and it makes them want to spend money with you.
Yeah, not only that, but you're talking about McDonald's, but you also had Coca-Cola and Pepsi. They were doing the same thing, spending all that money, to keep the name out there. Yeah, they're gonna wear you out, but guess what? It's stuck in your brain now. So every time you see it, you probably gonna go into a McDonald's like, hey, I see a McDonald's, let's go to McDonald's real quick. Especially if you're driving down the interstate and you're hungry, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna go off the interstate. Where the first place you're going? You're gonna go to McDonald's, right?
And know what? And you already know the thing is, it's not great, but it's not bad. It's enough. You know what you're getting. It's like I don't have to risk. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I try other, little fast food spots. And you're like, it's a risk. I don't know how good Hardee's fries are going to be. I know McDonald's fries are going to slap though.
Yeah, we can have that debate on another day because I don't know what McDonald's fries slap.
You're not into them?
Man, no.
Who's some fries you like?
Okay, so I would put Burger King fries above them. I put Wendy's fries above them. Let me see. Oh, Arby's. I put their fries above them.
Oh yeah, Arby's. The Arby's fries. They got the crunchy, the crinkly, and the
curly.
early. Yeah, Arby's fries are bang, especially with some of that horsey sauce.
Yep.
I give them that. Wendy's changed their formula though recently. I don't know if it felt like it changed a little bit.
They put more sea salt. I just don't like the amount of salt they put on their fries at times. They
Yeah,
just dump it on there. It's like, okay, that's enough salt. But I could even say like Zaxby's fries are way better than.
Ashley fries are another level. Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean them. I will put Chick-fil-A, but they make waffle fries, so they're kind of like different from everybody else. But
yeah.
everybody knows you go for the chicken sandwiches more than anything else.
We on a fat move right now. Like, and I don't try to eat fast food that often, but I'll tell you this to our point that if I do go fast food, I'm gonna try to go with something I already know. So it's okay. You're gonna keep reminding me. And I think that whatever your business is, do the same thing. But really, if you've already got an understanding what your story is, then when you approach a journalist, right, to do an article on you, you have some leverage on telling them what to write, because journalists are people, and a lot of them, they're getting hit with, people are pitching them all the time. So the less thinking, they want to think about typing the story or interviewing. They don't want to have to think about everything in the story. They don't want to do all the work. So if you already got your story developed and then you approach them, it's going to help them out a lot too. They'll be, oh, okay, so you started this because of you actually used to be in trouble with the law. You became a chef, and now you actually are hiring people out of juvie. I mean, that's a great story, and that helps me develop that story a lot easier.
Yeah, like I'm with you. Like I've been taught a lot of this stuff. Even when I worked on a local political campaign here in Clarksville back in 2020. You
Okay.
know, um, great experience, by the way. I'm gonna be honest, that's like one of the greatest experience ever. Uh, but when we did some campaign videos and everything like that, it was for him to be open to know why he's running for city council and everything like that. That's what people want to know. Like, why are you doing this? Is it for your own self-interest? Or are you doing it for the community? Things
Yep.
like that. Let us know, so we could feel more comfortable with you, on the city council and
Yeah.
everything. And now he's on the city council right now. So it's I like to hear that. So whether it's your business podcast, if you're running for office and anything like that, you know, don't be afraid to be open. Like Jason said, don't be afraid to be open. You
Mhm.
know, at times it's good to be vulnerable because you want people to feel what you're feeling.
Yep.
And not only that, but I worked in sales at my last job. When we were doing our sales pitch, we always mentioned how the company got started.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that right there is so important. People really get excited when they have an understanding of where they're spending their money at. And
Mm-hmm.
I just think that those both work well with sales. And well, I mean, when you're pitching the media, you're selling yourself. And that's another thing we got to think of when you're trying to say, hey, Tennessean or Leaf Chronicle, write an article on my new business. I've opened up a cigar lounge or whatever it is that you're opening. I'm selling T-shirts. I'm a realtor out here, and this is why I'm a realtor. We never owned a house as a child, and when I finally bought my first home for my mother, and she moved in, and we were so excited, I was like, I want others to have this same feeling. That's a story to tell, and giving that kind of information and being, like you said, upfront about it and being vulnerable about it, that's gonna resonate with people. And press and media experts, media people understand that. They can see that and they're like, okay, people are going to be attracted to this story. So let's do that article on this particular realtor or this restaurant owner or whoever it is. This story makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense, even with big companies, like you mentioned. Always go back, tell their story, right?
Yeah.
Even like they got the movies and stuff like that. They'll go back. You know the story about Apple. You know how they got started. Started in the garage. We know how Amazon got started. You know, you
Wow.
know, Amazon, basically was just selling books online, and look where it turned out to be. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
you're right. We know Facebook
this
at Harvard. I mean, you're right. A lot of brands that story is so important, but they had to craft that story, and they kept telling that story. Like Apple with the garage with Jobs and his peoples, like told a lot over and over and over again. So now it's known. Like we all know that. And people use that as examples, as inspiration with their story. They're like, this is why we started our business. But one thing I also wanted to shift gears to, which is important, and we talk about this a lot in the ebook, is not only do you want to craft your story, but you also want to develop relationships with these journalists. You want to actually do that. And the easiest way to do that is social media. So if there's a newscaster or a news writer in a magazine or a newspaper or a radio DJ that does some news that you want to cover you, follow them on social. Follow them on X, formerly known as Twitter. Repost them. You can't say retweet anymore. You got to say repost. Retweet them, repost them on X. Follow their Facebook like page, and then comment. So if you want somebody in the Leaf Chronicle in Clarksville who does stories on businesses to cover your business, then when he posts or she posts her article on other businesses, leave a comment, share it on your page. And then when you present them with your story, trust me, it'll be a little easier for them to be like, all right, let me see what they're talking about. Because everybody, no matter what field they're in, loves to see what they've shared on social media being shared again. I used to work with the Tennessee Tribune here in Nashville, and people used to hit me with press releases and call me and text me, email me with pitches all the time. And it was a good story. I was going to do my best, if I couldn't cover it, to share it with someone else in the newsroom. But those people that already shared my previous stories or my previous interviews, they were in the front of the line. So it's very important that while you're building this story, also support the journalists and the media outlets that you want to cover you.
Yeah, actually, I just wrote that down so I could have in my notes. I gotta find some journalists and stuff to follow, And the funny thing about it is, like, when me playing sports, this is like MySpace days. So it was, you really couldn't follow anybody like that on MySpace, or you chose not to. But you always had that connection with them face to face because they know about you and everything, and you built that relationship. But now with social media, you can follow your favorite journalists here and there, whatever they writing about. Again, like, share their posts, and guess what? They will return the favor one day. And I think that's something that's very important. Especially if you want to, network and build relationships with other people. Yeah. So I think that's very, very important. Real quick. What was I about to say? I wrote it somewhere. I think I lost it. Doggone it. Where am I? Hold on.
That's why I gotta put
my conversation. Yeah, because this stuff right here, man. I don't listen, man. This is just me, man. I have fun what I'm doing. See, I gotta put the glasses back on because I can't see.
You gotta get.
I was gonna hold it up like this, like, no, I don't want to do it like that in front of the camera.
Yo, that's funny.
What else? What other things that you have going on besides the ebook? Let the people know what else you have going on.
Okay, so right now we've been doing a lot of really great websites. Just along the lines of everything we do is about storytelling, and our websites, we've really gone with a more like a real clean, minimalistic look, some really nice photos that pop, and we want to tell a story, and we want to tell people what to do once they're on the website. So what we've been doing a lot lately, I think is cool, is we've been really working with our call to actions. So when you're on a website, you'll see like a little information, and you'll see a button, right? And the button will say, learn more, read more, shop here, right? What we've been working with a lot lately, and we've seen great results, is having these buttons be a little more dynamic. So instead of learn more, we might be like, discover our journey. Instead of shop here, we might say, get to know our products, right? Like we want things that are like, if I'm scrolling, because most people, when they look at a website, they're looking on their phone the first couple times. So they're scrolling. Second, you got about 30 seconds, before they be like, all right, I'm out. So if they're scrolling, they're not even going to really read all those little paragraphs right? But they're going to see that button. Scroll in, discover our journey. Okay, click on that. Now you're on the about page. And then there, another button takes you to services. You want to lead them in a direction to where eventually they're buying or they're contacting you. And then it has to look great on a cell phone and on your laptop, desktop. Because a lot of people, they look on their phone first couple of times, and then when they get home or they get to their desk, they might look at it some more on a laptop to do some more research. That's when they'll probably read a little bit more and learn if they want to buy your product or your service. But that first initial, we want it to look clean, the pictures look nice, we want those buttons to be really cool and tell people where to go. So we've been having a lot of fun because we've been doing websites for years and years, but this last year or two, websites, it's like I'm having a blast of designing them, because that concept of telling a story and having those really cool buttons and stuff, it's really exciting.
Definitely, man. And look, more success to you, man. I hope you get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I could say I know this guy because he was on my podcast before. So I hope everything works out for you, man. Before we get out of here, let the people know where they could follow you for more information about your business or your ebook or just anything you have going on in general. Let the people know.
So if you want to learn more about me, what I'm doing, we're trying to get back into the speaking circuit. Before COVID, I was doing a lot of speaking engagements that slowed down a lot. So I'm trying to get back into that. Working on another book. So this was an ebook. The next book, we're going to go more the traditional route, try because this is 45 pages. It's a quick read, a lot of good tips, information in there, some actionable steps. The next book, we're gonna deep dive into some other topics, and that'd be more of your traditional 300 page book. So, but in the meanwhile, you can follow me at Across the Board, and that means on all social network across the board, at the J Luntz Report, and that's TheJLuntz Report. And you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, LinkedIn, everything with the J Luntz Report. And my company is Your Voice, and you can find Your Voice on Instagram and Facebook is mostly where I'm at with that. That's URVOYCE. And our tagline is we want to be your voice online. But as far as me, follow me. If you have any questions about media, about social media, about web, or just even how to grow your business, you can DM me anytime. I'm always available and ready to talk. Buy the book. I think it can help take business to the next level and actually get them in that newspaper they've been wanting to do, get them on that radio station, get them on that podcast, get a blog to write them. It's just a lot of, I'm just really excited about it, man. I've been getting good response, and I love talking about it. But yeah, follow me on social, man. I'm always, willing to rap and talk about business, particularly when it comes to marketing, branding, and online marketing.
Definitely, man. Like I said, I'm gonna share your ebook. I'm gonna tag my friends and stuff that's in business or doing something, whatever platform they got. I'm gonna tag them in it. I'll make sure they get it. Make sure they use that code After Dark, all caps. So y'all please support. Get some more knowledge, man. Just support and get some more knowledge, get some more information, because I think this is going to be a great read, especially if you want to grow. Before we get out of here, any last words?
Oh, well, I want to just say that first of all, with you to keep doing your thing with this podcast. I love the growth. I love the guests I've already seen. I already started jumping into a couple episodes, so this is definitely on my subscribe list now. I'm gonna continue to support. And to everyone out there, whatever it is that you're doing, just and Darius said it earlier, just get started. You don't have to have all the bells and whistles. Just get started. See if what it is you want is something you even like. If you want to design a candle, you don't got to design all 12. Just get that first candle out there, that first t-shirt, whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to start selling food, look, you can do catering first. You can sell it out your kitchen. Look, ain't nothing wrong with that. You don't have to get the restaurant to start. Whatever it is, just get started. And then, and while you're doing it, don't be afraid to share your story. That's what's going to get people to support you. Oh, one last thing. I got to say this. It's been on my mind. And I learned it again, too, even with this ebook. Everyone that loves you doesn't necessarily mean they're your customer. So that means this book is for business owners and nonprofit and people building brands. If my cousin or my best friend just has isn't a business owner, this book's not for them. So I can't get mad if they don't buy it. So whatever it is you're doing, people can support, they can share it, which is all they have to do. But don't be mad when your friends and family don't buy your products or services if it's not for them. So focus on who your customers are. Focus on your clients, and you will continue to grow. And that's just something that's been on my mind too. I just wanted to say.
Definitely, man. I really appreciate you coming on. We're gonna have to do this again.
Yeah.
I might end up bringing you back on later on this year during the holidays for my special holiday episode. So we'll probably get that together. And
during the holidays, we should do a couple drink ideas, and let me come down there with you and your man, and we could try a couple drinks together.
All right, bet. I'll talk to him. We'll get all that set up during that time, and I'll let you know. So, because I know I'm gonna have some ideas. I know there's one that we have an idea for. Probably we'll do that next, but we'll definitely have some ideas. So if you have any ideas, hey, let us know. Bring them with you, and we'll do some reviews. So I'm all for it.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
No problem. All right, y'all make sure y'all follow Drinking After Dark Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe to Drinking After Dark Podcast YouTube channel. For Jason, I'm Darius from Drinking After Dark Podcast, and we out. Peace.
Gotta get to the money. Gotta get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. Gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and me. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. And gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that the kids and me. Gotta make sure that the bills is paid. And then let's get to the money. Get to the money.